Hi everyone, and welcome to our Year 11 virtual revision presentation. My name is Mr. Battle, and I'll be talking you through parts of this presentation and signposting you to all the resources that will hopefully enable your son and daughter to be as successful as they can be in the Year 11 mock exams and then in their summer exams in 2021. In the news today, we saw how the exams will be going ahead, and the government have said under no circumstances will they be cancelled. They did say that there are some things in place to ensure there's a fair process, for example, advance note of topics in exams, formula sheets, and possibly some backup exams. But I think the key message for our students is that with the exams going ahead, the mock exams coming up in January are really, really important stepping stone for the summer. Not only do they provide a chance to practice being in that environment, but also an opportunity to find out strengths and weaknesses, which will be really helpful to go in line with the advanced notices of topics that the government have said they will be sharing for the exams. In this presentation there will be two parts. There's the video here that you're watching now, and then the PowerPoint presentation to accompany it. Which I hope you find very useful. If you do have any questions at all, please do feel free to email myself, and I'll try and answer as many questions as possible. There are a number of things that we'll be covering throughout this presentation, which is ultimately titled Striving for Success. There are a number of factors that we in school, your sons or daughter, and yourselves at home can do to support with this process, and I think by working together we can have a really positive impact in the summer. So the first part of this looks at personal development, which is things that students can do to try and ensure that their revision is as effective as possible. We'll touch upon post-16 options, cover some revision techniques, and share the revision timetable, before you'll then hear from some of your subject teachers about how to be successful in their subject area. You will then have the final slide, which has got some useful context, so if there are any follow-up questions after this presentation, then you'll know who to get in contact with, so we can direct this information and get back to you as soon as possible. There are two parts to this presentation: the video that you're watching now, and there will also be a separate PowerPoint presentation that's available as well. On the PowerPoint presentation, you'll be able to access lots of the links that are referred to throughout the presentation. Ultimately, this information is going to be available on the revision section of the school website, which you will find under the student tab at the top. Again, I'll put a link to this on the final slide so you know where to access all of the school information. In assembly this week, I start talking about self-care. This isn't just important during the exam season, but it's also something that will help during the revision process as well. Young minds have put together lots of top tips and tricks to help try and make the revision process as smooth as possible. We're well aware that all of your subject teachers will be giving you lots of advice on how to be successful in their subject area, and part of my role is to try and help you balance your revision and make sure it's as effective as possible. There are lots of techniques that you can access. Some will work for you, some of them won't. If you follow the link from this PowerPoint, it will take you to lots of different techniques to help with self-care. These include what you can do for a 5-minute break, which could be a grounding exercise, or a technique called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is designed just to regulate your processing and how the revision is going for you. There's also tips in terms of taking a slightly longer break. We're all human beings, we can't work or revise for extensive periods without taking adequate breaks. So for example, if you're going to take a 15-minute break, make sure you're doing this away from your study area or away from your revision space, to ensure that you've got the clear distinction between what your work is and what your break is. One thing that I think is really important if you're taking a longer break, so later in the day, if you've been revising, I do think it's important that you do take some time to yourself, whether that's go outside, get some fresh air, and also connect with other people. Revision can be quite an isolated task. If there are opportunities to revise and then connect and talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to people around you, then that will have a big impact on how effective the revision is. This is a quick glimpse of some of the resources available on our Google site. Mr. Smith has been collating all of the resources and advice that has been shared in school so far as part of our careers programme. We've had some virtual assemblies from EDF Energy, Farlingate High School, and lots of other places have shared their information with regards to post-16 options when you leave here in the summer. These are all put together with other information. I know that Mr. Smith has emailed this to your school email address, so please make sure you've made the most of this opportunity. We've collated a range of revision techniques on our school website. These have been really successful with students in the past, and we hope that you will find these helpful as well. There's a blank revision timetable that will help structure your revision. We also have a range of subscriptions for the following websites. GCSE Pod is a website with videos and revision material for all subjects. Educake is specific to science, and Hegarty Maths is a specific maths-based revision website. This is our revision timetable, which shows all the different subjects and when they're taking place throughout the school week, some before school, some after school. Over the next few slides you will hear from Mr. Smith, Mrs. Short and Mr. Peart, who will be talking you through English, Maths and Science. After that there will be then the slides pop up for all of the other subjects that won't have any audio. However, the details for each subject will be there for you to read, and all further information for those websites will be found on the school website.
Hello, this is Miss Smith. I'm head of EBAC, and I'm here just to talk you through some tips and support to help you support your child with revising for English language. Our exam board is Edexcel. There are 2 papers to the English language. Paper 1 is the fiction and imaginative writing, which is worth 64 marks, and on that you have a piece of 19th century unseen text. On paper 2 it's non-fiction and transactional writing, which is worth 96 marks. Both reading and writing skills are tested, and on these the writing for both is worth 40 marks. That's a big chunk of the actual GCSE grade. Obviously we're doing lots of practice with that, but there's lots more they can do to help with their writing skills as well. As I said, there's unseen texts on both. For the paper 2, they are non-fiction texts, and they are more modern, one from the 20th century, one from the 21st century. Pupils need to access the 19th century fiction and to challenge modern texts of fiction as well. Research has shown that if pupils do not know 5 words out of every 100 words, they cannot access the meaning of the text. They also need sophisticated vocabulary for the writing tasks as well, so the 2 kind of go hand in hand. I need you to encourage them to develop a daily reading habit and learn new vocabulary as well. It's very easy for pupils and ourselves as well to skip over words we don't know without actually looking up the meaning, and without doing so we can't expand our vocabulary. Local libraries, once lockdown and everything's finished, are a great place to access up-to-date reading materials and some of the classics as well. If any of your any of your children are reluctant readers, then please ask for advice. We've read a wide range of fiction and non-fiction, and we can actually speak to the pupils about their interests and give them advice on what they may be interested in. Audiobooks are another option as well, as long as they are listening closely and again jotting down any vocabulary that they don't know. Autobiographies, biographies, newspaper, magazine articles are just as useful to read as well, especially for those that find reading challenging, that they don't like the 19th century fiction. Then you can go for some non-fiction options as well. Online 19th century fiction, there's a great website, gutenberg.org, which has all the classics for free because they're no longer within copyright. If you have a Kindle, you can also download the classic literature for free as well. We do set it as homework as well for them to read a page or a chapter or a short story and to jot down vocabulary that they don't know. Even if it is just a chapter or 2 across different genres, just dipping in and out of the books is fine, as long as they're looking up any of the unknown, sort of very old, archaic language. It will help them enormously just to get used to it, so they're not stumbled. They don't stumble upon too much in the exam itself. All students have a vocabulary book that they should have with them every lesson, and every time they read, they should be using it to record any unknown vocabulary. And again, we'll use that in class, and they can use it in their writing as well. So if we're doing a writing task, they could get the vocab books out and use some of that sophisticated vocabulary within that as well, so they get used to using it in context. When reading non-fiction texts, students should test themselves on PAF, which is purpose, audience and form, and all students know how to do that as well. Students can also use an answer that the teacher has already marked and actually use the feedback to rewrite and improve it. And again, that will just give them confidence and to make them realise that they can what they need to do to get their higher grades as well. On every piece of work that there is a next step task for them all to do, and if they were to do that and learn from it, then their grades will improve enormously. All students also have a pack of exam type questions for both papers, and we're happy for them to use them outside of lessons as well as inside. They could just pick up one of the passages and have a look at it, one of the extracts, and look for techniques. They can revise the PAF with it as well. Good way of just quick revision tips. For the writing task, students can actually memorise good techniques that they have used and then use them in every task. So we've done a couple of really strong tasks at the beginning of the year. One was called Whitby Abbey and the other was called Francis. We provided them with a whole bank of vocabulary and they used that. And then we had some really good pieces of writing from that. And again, we've said to the students, try and memorise. If you've used a really good simile or a great metaphor, try and use that each time so that in exam conditions, they haven't got to come up with them just at the top of the head. They're there already. A lot of the techniques are interchangeable, and different tasks or different questions will ask for different things, but a lot of them can be used because they can be used across several different types of question. Also, student ideas from writers by reading, recording, learning good techniques that they come across whilst they're reading as well. It's not plagiarism because in the exam it's all there from memory, so if it's stuck in their head, they're absolutely allowed to use it. Same with any movie or film plots as well. School have brought into the Pixel vocab app, and you can see it on the slide there that the children have access to it. They can just download it from the App Store or go directly to the address that's on there as well and do the desktop version. Their logon is exactly the same as it was for the Lit app that they used last year. So their surname, the first letter of their name in capitals, and then their first name in capital letters as their password as well. That's something that we'll also be setting as homework at times as well, because again, it's getting them to look at the vocabulary and to learn it as well. As I said before, they have extract question booklets for paper 1 and 2, so revise using those. Plan answers, they can annotate the text according to the questions. They could think about how they could do an evaluate question or repeat question where they're analysing the text. Even if it's just a 20-minute question, it all helps to build their confidence. Another good way of revising for the writing tasks is to plan and brainstorm writing question. Again, they've got packs provided for that as well. And practice perhaps to strike an opening or an ending for a few questions as well. Planning is essential to get good results, and all examiners know when an answer has been planned. So it's a case of perhaps just revising by doing a couple of questions a week where they just plan and think about how they'd answer that and what they'd put into it as well. One of the things I've done with my class is to give them an extract, and the students themselves have actually devised the questions for it. And that's a good way of revising it as well, because it gets them looking at the vocabulary, looking at the text, looking for the techniques, thinking whereabouts they can actually find a good evaluation question as well. And as always, trying to find a quiet space to revise. In other years, I've always said that if you can't get, if you haven't got a room where you can actually be quiet or have access to that, get yourself to a coffee shop or the local library. Obviously, it's going to be a bit difficult as things are at the moment, but try and find a quiet space for them to revise. And of course, at school, they can stay behind after school, and I can always provide a quiet working area for an hour or so after school as well. There are revision guides that are available if you wanted to purchase any of those. The first one from CGP Books is a package. There's a bundle, I think it's about £15. You can also get some Edexcel revision guides as well. The revision guide and the workbooks themselves are good, and you can get targets as well for reading and writing. So there's a target for grade 5s and a target for grade 9s as well, and they have lots of hints and tips and tasks to do as well, which also help with revision. And we have a list of internet sites that you might, websites that you might find useful, your children might find useful as well, for creative writing and giving word lists as well. Bite Size is also good. They've got some really nice revision tasks on there and little quizzes to do to help revise the spelling, punctuation and grammar for the writing tasks as well. YouTube is also good stuff as well. The teachers that I would recommend, and I've often looked at myself, and I know some of the past pupils have used them and found them useful, is Mr. Bruff. He's on YouTube. He's got his own channel, so the children could subscribe to that. Mr. Sales and Claire's class are also good as well. Some of them are for our exam board, but many of them do both, or the skills are interchangeable between the two as well. And obviously the first mock exams are January 2021, so we need to be making sure that they're in a good place, that they can actually have a good go at this, because of course if the exams are cancelled in the summer, these mock grades will count as well. And there is another set of mocks that will be done in March as well, and obviously classwork will come into it as well. Okay, if there's anything that I can help you with, please don't hesitate to get in touch.
I'm now going to talk to you about how we can revise for maths. One of the most important things in maths is to make sure that you're revising the topics that are your weakest areas. It'd be really easy to sit and answer lots of questions of topics that you know really well. It's difficult to revise when you're looking at subject areas or topic areas that aren't quite so strong. You can get that information from the practice assessments that you've been doing in class. And the key message really is practice, practice, practice. There's an awful lot of resources available online that have videos to support you, and there are in-school revision sessions as well, where we, as your teachers, can help you practice understanding topics that aren't quite so familiar. This slide here shows all of the really key area that is going to be in your exam. So these formulas have to be memorised, and then as part of your revision practice we need to ensure that we're using them regularly to answer different types of questions. This is a list of recommended resources for Mrs. Short. Some of them are all should be fairly familiar with you. There's lots of things in school that you've already worked on, as well as online provision.
Hello Year 11, I'm going to talk to you for a little while about exam technique in science. Really important that when you are preparing for your exam that you are properly equipped. Make sure you've got 3 pens, black pens, so if one runs out or you have a problem with one, you're not worried, oh my god I've lost a pen, it doesn't work. Make sure you've got a pencil. Make sure you've got a calculator. Make sure you've got a calculator that you understand how to use. It's important that you know the formula that you have to recall. There's about 20 formula in physics that you should be able to recall for the exam. Some of the formula you will have on the formula sheet. It's a good idea to know the formula sheet and the periodic table, so if there's a question about molecular mass, you know where that is on the periodic table that you've got. You can find it easily. Highlighters will become your friends. Use your highlighters in your revision to highlight keywords and key terms. Colour with revision, if you can make your notes colourful, it will help you remember key facts. On the exam paper, you can make marks on the paper, you can colour the keywords in, highlight the command words, highlight the keywords, highlight the key facts, the information that you will need to answer the question. Make sure you read the questions carefully. You know, if it says tick 2 boxes, only tick 2 boxes. If you tick 3 boxes and 2 of them are right, you won't get any marks. If it says answer to 2 significant figures, make sure you answer to 2 significant figures and not 2 decimal places. Check the marks that the question is worth. If it's worth 2 marks, make sure you've made 2 credit-worthy points. If it's worth 4 or 6 marks, make sure you've answered the question appropriately to get the marks. Revision cards. When you're revising, summarise your work. So you've got a unit of work that you're trying to revise, summarise it. What are the key facts? Put them on cards so that you can find the information, you can use the information. Ask your teachers about games you can play with your revision cards. There's lots and lots of good websites and sites on YouTube to find revision information. You know, if you've had Me for Science, that I've used Primrose Kitten. BBC Biteside is another good place to look. I've also included a link for a bonding song. Help you remember chemical bonding. Practice past paper questions. Do as many questions as you possibly can and mark them. You should find on the AQA website links to past papers and questions. Use post-it notes. Stick post-it notes. So extension from the revision cards. Put the information on post-it notes that you're really struggling with. Stick them around the house. Get your family to help you, to test you. It will go into your memory that way. Make sure the night before the exam that you get a good sleep and that you eat a nutritious breakfast. A can of Monsters is not a good breakfast before an exam.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Thompson and I would like to go over the key ways students should be preparing for their exams. Before I talk about the revision, I'd like to explain briefly about the format of the exams this year. So, how will students be assessed in 2021? Well, there will be 3 parts to the main grade. A third of the marks will be the listening exam, which will involve answering questions in French and English, and there will be some multiple choice questions. A third of the marks are the reading exam, which involves also answering questions in French and English, multiple choice questions, gap fills and translations into English. And the final third marks will be the writing exam. Foundation students will have to describe a photo, they will have to translate into French, and there will be 2 pieces of extended writing which are 40 words and 90 words. Higher students, there are 3 parts. There is a translation of a paragraph to do in French, into French. There's 2 pieces of extended writing, one which they have to write roughly 90 words, and the last one they have to write roughly 150 words. The speaking exam in 2021 will be assessed in class and will be reported alongside the GCSE French grade like in English, but the speaking will not go towards the final 1 grade. It will be assessed on a 3-point scale: pass, merit and distinction. We have already been starting doing speaking practice in class, and I've been taking notes, and I am gathering evidence to give them a final mark: pass, merit or distinction. We will continue to do this until May. So there are 12 topics in total which cover 3 themes. Topic 1, me, my family and friends. Topic 2, technology in every day. Topic 3, free time activities. Topic 4, customs and festivals in French speaking countries and communities. Topic 5, home, town, neighbourhood and region. Topic 6, social issues. Topic 7, global issues. Topic 8, travel and tourism. And finally, topic 9, my studies. Topic 10, life at school and college. Topic 11, education post-16. And topic 12, jobs, career choices and ambitions. Now, the reason why I've explained the 3 themes is this becomes important with the writing exam. This year, because of COVID, the exam board, AQA, have decided to give 3 choices of questions for the 90-word essays and the 150-word essays, and there will be 3 choices of questions, 1 from each theme. So I will be recommending my class to actually focus on 2 themes, theme 2 and theme 3, for their writing revision. Okay, and that way they can be confident in one theme and they still have the second theme as a backup in case they don't like the question. So how should students prepare for the listening exam? Listen, listen, listen. Listening is crucial. You can't do last-minute revision for listening. It has to start now. We are so lucky that we pay for Caboodle, which is a fantastic online resource with many listening tasks that students can listen to at home. Students are used to using this site in lessons, and I'm already giving homework of short listening tasks which they have to use Caboodle online. There is a Caboodle Foundation book and a Red Caboodle Higher book. They're already completing the listening homework tasks and they need to complete these to the best of their ability. The more effort that they put into each listening activity, the more they will reap the benefits. There's a tip that I'm giving students too, which I would recommend they continue doing. After completing a listening task, I'm always giving them a transcript. Well, listen again whilst reading the transcript twice and think about the words that they didn't hear, then listen again without. Can they understand more details than before? This can really help with their understanding. So in addition to this, they complete the test and revise listening exam style questions for each of the units, which are in the online test book. What you're seeing in front of you now is just an example of 3 questions. Students will be given a pack of transcripts and the answers, so they can do it at in their own time and also see where they have gone wrong and see what words they haven't understood. This will be revision material and optional. This won't be part of the homework. There are also plenty of Caboodle listening activities online which are self-marking, so they don't need me to mark for them, and they get an instant understanding of how well they've understood it. And the transcripts are also available by me. They just need to ask me or the other French teacher in the department. How should students revise vocabulary? Well, there are lots and lots of different ways students can revise vocabulary. Students have key vocabulary of all the 12 units that they're going to be tested on in their plastic folders that are either in school or they can bring home. The vocabulary has been taken from their AQA specification. So if they did manage to learn all the vocabulary, that is the key vocab that they need to know to answer all the questions in the reading and the listening exams. They're on Caboodle online. There is vocabulary builder matching activities as shown on the PowerPoint now. This is a fantastic tool. They could just do 5 minutes every day or whenever they want to revise vocabulary. Great way, and it is focusing on the AQA vocabulary. There is also Memrise. Some students find Memrise really helpful for learning vocabulary and key phrases. Seneca is also online to help, and there is a section which focuses on AQA language. Or you could have a go at doing 10 minutes a day on Duolingo. This can be, you can download an app on the phone, and students have found this very useful in the past. And the students who have done regular 10 minutes a day on Duolingo, I've really seen a difference in their ability to understand and their accuracy with their writing. There is also a way to actually listen, so this could actually help them with their listening too. How should students prepare for the writing exam? Students will have to do extended writing in the exams from memory. As I've said, foundation students 40 words and 90 words, and higher students 90 words and 150 words. They need to be completing writing exam questions which are set for homework to the best of their ability. Students will also be given a list of possible exam questions for each topic that they can answer at home in addition. Every answer they write, I am very happy to mark and give them a grade back, so it isn't a wasted effort. If students don't have the time to answer all the questions in full, I would advise planning an answer, thinking about maybe the advantages or disadvantages, or create a mind map. What are they going to do for each bullet point or paragraph? And this can be very, very helpful instead of answering a question in full, because part of the problem is not knowing what to write. So if they can plan it out first, that will help them get a clear picture in their mind what they'll write in the exam. I would also advise that they revise the speaking questions that they've answered online. They will be printing them off in about April when they're all finished. They will have a pack of already answered questions about themselves that they can revise for. They can also be revising past essays that they've written in their exercise book. I would also advise them to revise the key tenses: present, perfect, imperfect, future and conditional. These are crucial for anybody wanting a grade 3 or above. They've got grammar sheets in their plastic folders, and there are some fantastic grammar activities which are self-marking on the Caboodle online programme. I'd also advise students to be creating revision cards for the tenses with some examples, and maybe they could test themselves so their answers are on their other side. Definitely key opinions. They need to know a range of opinions. To get a grade 3, you need to include several opinions, and this could make a big difference between grades if they do not have the opinions in their memory. They need to be revising time indicators, for example, like last year, next year, last week, yesterday. They have a list in their plastic folders. Ways to include complexity in their writing. Key irregular verbs in the present, past and future. For example, I go, I eat, I do, I am, etc. So, how should students prepare for the reading exam? Learning vocabulary, as I've already explained, but one of the key things I really want them to focus on are question words. As I've already explained in the listening exam and the reading exam, half the questions are in French, so it is really, really important they have a very, very good understanding of what the question words are in French. For example, what, when, why, etc. So it would be a good idea if they could create a revision card and revise and learn all of what the question words are. Translation practice is also very important. 10 marks are given for the translations on the reading paper, so it's really important that they have some practice translating into English and for the writing exam translating into French. They can complete translations in the workbooks. Each student has a copy, and all they have to do is just let me know if they're taking them home. You may ask which exam guide would help. Well, I would recommend the AQA Complete Revision and Practice Guide. This is great because it also comes with a CD, and so gives the students even more chance to practice their listening. Please don't hesitate to contact school if you would like any further advice.
Thank you for taking the time to download and watch this video. I do hope that you found it informative. All the resources and this presentation will be available on our school website. So do please take the time to access these, and if you have any questions, please do feel free to ask, email the school and ask any of us with our email addresses that are on this slide here. Thank you.